Hello and welcome to Election Decks on GhanaWeb TV. Today we have one of the brave men who has decided to contest in the 2024 elections as an independent candidate. He is an entrepreneur and an engineer, Mr. Richard Sumah.
Yes.
Did I get your name right?
Sumah.
Sumah. Okay,
Yes.
okay. You're welcome to GhanaWeb.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, most of the time when I'm asked a little bit about myself, I start with the fact that I'm a messenger of God. I'm a servant of God. But by profession, I am a marketing consultant. I'm a media practitioner too. I had my beginning as an automobile engineer. Then I metamorphosed into the media space, and then also continue into the marketing space. So I've been a marketing consultant. I've worked with several agencies. And I've also been in the tourism space as a tourism consultant, where I've worked with the Ghana Tourism Federation, and I've also consulted for the Ministry of Tourism and several other tourism institutions. So basically, that's a little bit about myself.
Okay. So let's move on to the big question. Why do you want to be president of Ghana?
And like I indicated earlier, that is a calling, because at the tender age of 22, or prior to that, I have always had that calling. And like I said, growing up, my dream has always been to be a servant of God, to really work for God. Because, you know, many had a dream, some want to be lawyers, doctors, and so forth and so on. But some of us growing up, all we ever desired was to work for God. But along the line, we had wanted to be like a reverend priest, but that didn't happen. And then along the line, we moved into the mainstream education instead of going to the seminary way. So thereafter, the calling was upon me. So in the year 2001, I was working with Kingdom Transport Services then as a mechanic or as an engineer, where the calling came to that I had to resign from Kingdom Transport and take up my cross and take up my destiny in my own hands. So I resigned from Kingdom Transport simply because I had this calling that God made it known to me. It was on a rough note, but as and when you are growing, the vision will properly be shaping. So you know exactly the direction he's taking you through. So based on that, I had this desire to serve him already. And when the calling came, I was adamant I didn't want to move on. But it's like Jonah, who was running away from going to Nineveh, and eventually he has to end up there in the belly of the what do we call it?
A shark
or something, on a whale.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically that is the reason why I am doing what I'm doing today. And more so over to, I look at the youth, I look at the children, I look at the aged, and I look at the direction Ghana is going now. I feel like we're on a fast lane to self-destruction. So when I weigh some of the options, I say no, it is rather you speak your mind or avail yourself for the people to see you. If you're able to speak something intelligent to them and they believe in you, they can give you the mandate to lead them. So this is the reason why I feel more motivated to step in and to avail myself. Rather than to die with all the ideas I have, I rather want to sell them to the Ghanaians and see how best we can all collectively come together to transform the destiny of this nation.
Oh, okay, great. And in my intro, I mentioned that you are one of the brave men who has decided to contest in elections in Ghana as an independent candidate.
Yes.
I said it because in the history of our Fourth Republic, we've had the two major parties, the ruling New Patriotic Party and then the major opposition party, the NDC, ruling the country. Are you confident of beating these two people?
You see, when the hand of the Lord is on you, God is the ultimate. When Ghana is being built, Ghana was not destined to be ruled by only NDC or NPP. It is because the system has been designed in such a way that they have been at the forefront. And media, for instance, look to them as the main contenders. So media most of the time create that impression to make it look like it has always been NPP and NDC. So this gives them the competitive advantage of most people who are also having the desire to contest. But the reason why we are doing it is to demystify that perception, is to change that narrative. You know, Beninoans, they did it in the 2016 election, Benin went for an independent presidential candidate. And now, if you put Ghana and Benin on the same pedestal in terms of how fast they are developing, how fast they are rewriting their story, Benin is way, 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 way ahead of us. So we are of the view that if Benin can do it, then we must also, as a nation, look at the fact that, well, we've had these two major political parties leading us, and it has always been the winner-takes-all approach. Therefore, there are a lot of smart, big brains, great thinkers in both parties, and even in academia and technocrats, but normally we are not able to bring everybody on the same table, where a government can be formed that is made up of those from the right, those from the left, to form a common front to see Ghana first as the national development agenda. So it's a Herculean task. It's such a big task, but like I said earlier on, if God is involved and the people themselves as Ghanaians, now the cost of living is so high, inflation is so high, lending rate is so high. Today you buy something 1 cedi, tomorrow is 3 cedis. We can't just predict, we can't plan our life. And people are so tired, but just that they have not seen anything new yet. That is how come it looks like it is going to remain NPP NDC. But once the people are praying to God, God is also hearing the cry of the people that we need somebody from nowhere, out of nowhere, to come and rescue the nation. Therefore, I believe that in as much as we don't have the political experience or cloud or all these people following you, that be it is, we are still having the confidence that nevertheless we still stand a chance to speak to the mind, the heart, and soul of Ghanaians. And maybe, who knows, they might want to change the narrative together. Okay,
so you are not afraid of losing your 100,000 cedis that you're going to use for the filing fee?
No.
Because it requires that you get at least 25% of the vote for you to request a refund. You're not going to drop out at the last minute. You go.
No, what I'm doing, you see, I'm not a rich man. Yeah. I don't have financial resources. Sometimes when God wants to use you for something, forget about your weakness, okay? My greatest weakness is that I don't have the financial resources. But that shouldn't limit you from, like we said, taking that, we call it a giant step, a leap of faith. It is your faith that will move your mountains for you. Therefore, investing 100,000 as a filing fee, whether I get it or I don't get it, I want the Ghanaian populace to know that the things they have been hearing from these two sides of the divide is not revolutionary enough. It's not radical enough. It is not leading us anywhere. It's like the nation is moving in circles. So I would prefer that, yes, even 100,000, I'm not expecting that I'll take 100,000 from my pocket to go and do that. But you must be able to put in measures that will help you get something from the people. The people themselves can pay that money for you if they believe in you. Therefore, whether you get it back or you don't get it back, it's like casting your bread on the water, and definitely you will get it back in the future. But whatever we are doing before God and before mankind, it is not about fame, it's not about me, it's not about riches, it's not about anything, because no matter what you gain on this planet Earth, you are not taking it away. Therefore, I have always have that belief that I am not in this competition because I want something for myself. It is about my people. It is about my youth. It's about the aged. Look at how everybody is suffering in this country. And I think we really need to change the narrative.
Okay, so now let's move on to policies.
Yes.
What will Richard Sumah, President, bring on board?
Yes, I have so many brilliant ideas that we championing. But first of all, you look at the informal sector of Ghana and you realize that it is the engine of your economy. And we have also been running a model as a Ghanaian called the 180 economic management model, where we are quick to run to the external market, borrow money, bring it here, spend it on recurrent expenditure, use some for capital expenditures, use some to pay maturing debt, use some for parties here and there, and frivolously spend it on some unplanned for expenditures. Then we are back to zero. So we are always gallivanting, looking for money. So for us, our primary vision is to make sure we give access to credit. We build more entrepreneurs. We provide what we call the revolving fund or the venture capital system, where we partner with investment companies. You see the Undum Bank, we're running a model by taking banking to the doorsteps of the people. So with that, you are able to directly invest into the people. and get the money back from the people to plow into some productive sector that IMF and all your international donors, they will not allow you to do certain things. But if you are not allowed to do that, how do you generate revenue within the system to empower your people? So one, we are saying that we want to provide direct capital access for people within the informal sector, hairdressers, carpenters, masons, watch seller, tomato seller, the food vendor, everybody who is doing minor businesses that can grow, because every business has what we call the introductory stage, the growth stage, the maturity stage, and then the declining stage. So there's a lot of businesses that are at the introductory stage now. It is all about building strategic partnerships with these businesses so that we can move those at the introductory stage to what? The growing stage. Those are the growing stage to maturity. So for instance, we want to invest at least about 10,000 Ghana cedis in 16 million Ghanaians. So now, if we get power or we get opportunity to lead our people, the idea is that instead of using the Maslock approach, which becomes more political, you partner with the investment companies. Okay, so we inject capital into you. Your job is to register or collect a database of about 1 million people within the informal sector in Greater Accra. Those who are doing businesses that can prove to you that, yes, we are doing business, and at the end of every working day, we can generate an income of a living 100 cedis, 200 cedis. Therefore, if I invest 10,000 in you, and then we multiply it by 16 million, let's say we have 16 regions, so every region we want to target about 1 million direct investment. How much does that give us? It gives us 160 million Ghana cedis. Okay, the idea is that at the end of every working day, when you close from your work, pay a daily income tax of 10 cedis. So if I take daily income tax of 10 cedis from you because you are finished selling your watch, maybe the watch you only sell it in the morning, but if you invest in it that you can improve on that business, you can sell the watch in the morning and also sell some in the evening. And therefore, what will you do? You employ somebody else to do what? To help you. So automatically, if you directly invest into 16 million people, you are creating at least a minimum of 5 million indirect jobs. Because everybody, when you are growing, maybe you alone selling the cocoa. Now government has partnered you, has supported you. Now you can't do the cocoa business alone by yourself. You are expanding, therefore you need what? One hand. So let's assume hypothetically that all the 60 million people, not everybody needs an additional hand. But out of the 60 million, on the average, only 5 million have grown to the stage that they need additional hand. Automatically, we have created 5 million indirect jobs. Okay. So now, our other policy is that the state...
Okay, before you move to the second policy, so you mentioned that, so for this this initiative, you need, is it 600 million?
No, 160 million cedis.
160 million cedis. So what's the source of the funding?
No, we are a rich nation that we are extracting minerals. We have oil fields. We have so many things. So at the end of the day, we can't say that the state cannot afford 160 million Ghana cedis. We are not talking about dollars. Okay, without prejudice, respectfully. Look at how much we put into building a cathedral. Okay, we've spent over $200 million trying to build a cathedral. Okay, if I invest that $200 million into 16 million Ghanaians, do you know the returns I'll get in it? So this is my calculation I'm doing to you, that when I invest 10,000 into them and I'm getting 160 million as my direct investment, if at the close of every working day, each of them pay me my daily income tax as a state, not me, Richard, they pay 10 cedis because you have invested in them. Do you know how much I'll make in a day? I would have made the same 160 million cedis that I invested in them, made it in one day. So in a month, I would have made about 3,840,000,000 Ghana cedis, and that will enable me to plow it into my cassava plantation, into my sugarcane plantation, because the state, like I was about to say, we are setting up what we call the Ghana Farmers Brigade. The Ghana Farmers Brigade is supposed to be the industrial hub, the engine of raw materials for feeding factories. Now, if you run a system where you only say that private sector is the engine of growth, that is not done in any left-oriented society, because the private sector alone can certainly not be the engine of growth. It must be a hybrid system. The state must also be at the forefront of creating sustainable jobs by partnering private sector. So, for instance, if you are setting up what we call the cassava plantation, okay, which will be run by the state, by the Ghana Farmers Brigade, and we also know that Because of our orientation and discipline, we want to partner with our major domestic development partner, which is the Ghana Armed Forces. They have an engineering wing. Okay, so if I set up a cassava plantation in the whole of Volta region, there are Project 1, Project 2, Project 3, Project 4, and you have these technocrats, the expertise from the engineering wing of what? The army, who are managing the farms. There will be what? Discipline, and there will be what? Sustainability. Therefore, when I grow the cassava, it is now incumbent upon us to encourage our Ghanaian citizens to bring the private investors that we are producing the raw material, which is the cassava. Bring the expertise. Let them come and establish what? The factory. Okay, that factory that you are also coming to a setup, government will invest in you, will own a stake in it, okay? But you do the day-to-day running of the cassava processing plant. But when it comes to the supply of the raw material, it will come from the Ghana Farmers what? Brigade. Then at the same time, you empower cooperatives or individual what? Outgrowers. So let's say a cassava plant needs about 20 metric tons to operate a day. The state should be ready to provide at least 17 metric tons. Then why you empower individuals to do what? Support to the remaining 3 metric tons. Therefore, you are generating physical cash that you can pay salaries, build infrastructure, and expand on everything you want to do as a nation.
Okay, so with this, we'll take a short break. We'll come back to continue with the policies Mr. Richard Sumah has for Ghana. Welcome back to Election Desk on GhanaWeb. Okay, Mr. Richard.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you are on your policies.
Yes. So like I mentioned about the Ghana Farmers Brigade, because like I said, the state needs to own state farms, okay, from sugarcane, cassava, timber plantations, because you see the minerals we are extracting, they are things that will diminish or they will deplete. So what kind of investments are we doing that tomorrow when the timber is, when the gold is gone, the oil is gone, the diamond is gone, where are you investing in? Now look at the cost of living in Ghana today. We are surrounded by Francophone countries, and everything we consume in Ghana is coming from Niger, Burkina, Togo. Even the lettuce we eat every day is from Togo, because we can't grow anything to meet the demand. But why are we that lazy as a people, or somebody has bewitched us? Please are with me. And it all boils down to what? Leadership. It is about having a leader that knows how to build what we call synergy, who knows how to galvanize the people and put them into a path of growth where we can wake up and say that Ghana, within the next 2-3 years, this is where we want to get to. Within the next 4 years, this is where we want to get to. So that is why we spoke about the fact that we just state plantations. Okay, whilst I'm growing cassava, we will plant corn in there. Whilst we are growing cassava, there's some enclave. Look at the Volta Lake. Look at that vast Volta land that is available, they're wasting. Why can't we even grow tomatoes? Why can't we grow onion? Why can't we? Because
we do grow these things.
We are growing them at, you see, there is demand and supply. Yes. Your demand is more than what? Your supply. That is why you are always looking for external what? Sources to bring that thing into your market. So now it is affected by transportation costs, it is affected by exchange rate, it is affected by so many other external factors. That is why cost of goods and services are constantly what? On the increase. But if you have a deliberate policy to grow, for instance, like what a champion did, the Operation Feed Yourself, the policy is to grow enough so that when we grow enough, you can feed factory, you can consume some, and you can export some.
Okay, so let's bring our viewers on board. So the first policy is that you're going to invest in industries.
Yes.
You're going to create industries through private government partnership.
Yes.
Yes. And then the resources you get from this is what you are going to invest into agriculture.
Yes.
Yes. But we've seen various agricultural policies. Currently, this government is implementing Planting for Food and Jobs. Initially, we saw some successes where exporting some of our produce, but to some extent, we are not seeing any gains again. Are you sure your plan can work?
You see, that's why I said to you earlier on that government to go, government to come, the Ghana Army will always be there. Okay. You see, so we must start thinking outside the box. You see, what this present government is doing, respectfully, I have no problem with the government, okay? Whatever they are doing it at the individual cultivation level. That maybe me, Richard, I'm into plantation. I'm not even not into plantation. I grow cassava, okay, or I grow plantain, or I grow tomatoes. So government is saying we are giving you seedling, we are giving you input. Those are the surface. Please are you with me? It is as the same as how Ghana, if you classify as 90% of the population, they are farmers. Please are you with me? 90%, we are all farmers.
Subsistent farming.
Subsistent farming. Please are you with me? And because of the subsistent farming, we are not growing enough to meet our whole demand, not even to talk about what? Export. For it to bring you the foreign currency that will cushion the rate at which your dollar is escalating. Please are you with me? That is why we are saying that regardless of how you come out with policies like planting for food slogans, but that does not reflect into the daily cost of goods and services in Ghana, then that program has automatically failed. Please are you with me? That is why we are saying that don't sit back and say that only private individuals should do things. The state must be involved in doing things. That is why, again, I said to you that our mindset is that anything that is about the state, we will destroy it. That is why the white man is telling you that you, the black man, don't do anything for yourself. Okay? Just sit back and allow our foreign companies to come here and come and solve your problem for you. Imagine me telling you that I will solve your problems for you, and I have not gotten you yourself involved in solving the problem. Do you think the problem will be solved?
No.
I may solve it halfway. But the moment I go, you are going back to what? Square zero. That is why we are saying that if you partner with your major domestic development partner, because we are at a crossroad where we need what we call generational ideas, radical revolutionary ideas to transform the economy. So bring in your army. The army is there. So don't let the army, their job is to protect the territorial integrity of Ghana, but the hardcore army is there. That is why they have engineering wing. Those days, I see army construct bridges, I see army construct roads, I see army construct things before. Please are with me. But because we have gotten to the stage where the white man tells you, or your international partners tell you that, don't do anything. Just sit back and let us come and solve your problems for you. That is why we are where we are. So in terms of sustainability, the plan is to partner our domestic people. And then one thing, Singapore and Ghana, they started on the same pedestal. Yeah. But now, Singapore is the only country in this world that does not own anybody. It doesn't owe any country one cedi. Singapore has more assets than what? Liabilities. Why? Is Singaporeans, are they using artificial intelligence? No, it's all about leadership, the renewal of the mindset of the people, the revival of the ecosystem, and then the redirecting of the path of the nation that this is where we intend to go. So if you are the leader, you should be able to wake up every day and speak to the people that this is where we are going, and everybody must fall in line. If you don't fall in line, then that means you are becoming an enemy of the state. Therefore, within a period of time, we can revive Ghana, bring back Ghana on the path of progressive growth. Okay,
so we've heard your policy objectives for industry and agriculture.
Yes.
And can we hear about the other sectors? Education, starting with
yes, education for instance, look, education is the engine of every economy. Now, we are running a free education, beautiful, but the free education we are running now is not tailored. You see, it's a free-fall education. That means that we just want our people to go to secondary school. But thereafter secondary school, what next? What is the succession planning, okay? That is why we are saying that as part of the policy we are proposing is that we are setting up what we call the Ghana Builders Corp. The Ghana Builders Corp. The Ghana Builders Corp, we are saying that from JHS, we must be able to put what we call career counseling as part of the curriculum. Okay? So from GSS, we want to make sure that most of our youth gravitate towards employable skills. Carpentry, masonry, plumbing, steel bending, electricals, house wiring, painting. This category of people automatically, once you finish the secondary school or through informal apprenticeship system, you should be integrated into the Ghana Builders Corp. The same Ghana Builders Corp, we want it to be managed by the engineering wing of the army, okay? Because they become like the manpower force of the nation. Now, we have several schools under trees. As I'm being told now, we have over 5,000 schools under trees. Now, it costs us over 3 billion or 300 million Ghana cedis to construct a 6-unit classroom block. Why? Are you with me? Yes. So now the manpower force that we want to develop, which is the Ghana Builders Corp, which will be managed by the army, their job is to become the main infrastructure development agency of the state. So now what we will do is that we will supply you the cement, supply you the iron rod. For instance, Canada, Japan is into steel. What do we call it? Ibrahim Mahama is into cement. Okay? So if you have the Ghana Builders Corp and I'm going to Sandema, their schools under trees, they need market, they need community toilet, they need community urinal, they need basic things. And we have this manpower base and we distribute them across the 275 constituencies of Ghana. Because they are a paramilitary agency, they can build their own camps, they can build their own tents, okay? And they are supposed to collaborate with their people to build basic what? Infrastructure. Now, our condition or our proposal for the education sector is that don't let the free education be straitjacket, okay? Because you must be aiming towards building an empowering industry. Are we building a petrochemical industry? Are we building an oil and gas industry? Which subsectors are we building that can become our cash cows? Therefore, from the secondary school, anybody from the junior high school, anybody who wants to go into the sciences, okay, automatically is 100% what? Free. From the sciences, even to the tertiary, automatically we are equipping you because we are building petrochemical industry. Therefore, we think we need a lot of graduates who have studied in this space. So, the education must be tailored. Are you with me? Now, those who want to go into the general arts, because we have so many people into the general arts space already, so we don't need more of them there. We need more people to go into employable skills. So you go into general arts, yeah, the state will give you about 50% what? Support. Okay, so your parents should be able to take care of the rest. But because the parents don't want perhaps to take care of the rest, so go and learn carpentry. Go to the vocational system and learn steel bending, because that one automatically 100%, the moment you finish, you are going into the Ghana Builders Corp. Then from there you work there for at least 1 year. After working in the Ghana Builders Corp for 1 year, you can then now continue to work the technical universities. Whilst you are in school, you can still come back to work on holidays, make some money and go back to school. Automatically, once you finish school, you are coming back, because we need public housing. The infrastructure need of Ghana is so huge that if you have a human resource base that are your manpower development base for infrastructure, you will always have work for them to do what? To do. Therefore, you'll be able to move most of your youth on the street and put them into productive what? Sectors. Then now, we are looking at the nurses, for instance. Why are we training nurses that we don't even have health posts for them to go and work at? What is our policy of exporting labor? Okay, because if you talk about GDP are the total value of goods and services that is produced within your jurisdiction. But if you are talking about GNP, that means we can produce nurses, doctors, and export them to countries that needs what? Those services. When they pay them there, there will be contract between your government and the government there. So we are paying him $1,000. Make sure that $50 is for what? Is for the state. So that one also comes to add to your GNP, because their GNP is that those services and goods that are not produced within your what? Jurisdiction. So you can export what? Labor. Please, are you with me? So for education, it is good. But look at the fact that children go to school and lie on their belly to go and learn. Look at the environment we create for the children. You see, children grow in a very beautiful ambience. But when you corner the children's environment that they are not able to bring the best out of themselves, it is difficult for them to do what? To grow. So therefore, when it comes to education, we are going to invest more into the education, but we invest more into employable what? Skill sectors.
Okay, so I think you are going to cancel some of the initiatives like teacher training allowance. nursing training allowance?
No, you see, the teacher training and nurses allowance, it is a very dicey issue, okay? Why should you pay nurses? The policy of paying nurses came as at the time when Ghana needed a lot of nurses to fill spaces. Now you have more nurses that you cannot even employ them. So why run this policy or political agenda of saying that we need to pay the nurses while they are in school? You should rather create an environment for them so that they know that immediately they finish from school, the system is there to do what? Integrate them. A nurse finishing from school should be posted immediately, should be given a car, should be given a proper housing, okay? Should be given a proper medical insurance. Those of them who we may have excess, then we export them. So for paying nurses for them to be in school, honestly, it is not something that I, Richard, I will support it any day. Because I would rather prefer that you have the scholarship systems in place, give them access to funding. That if you want to do research, whatever you want to do, access that money and do whatever you want to do and pay it back. By giving you free money just to entice you to become a nurse or entice you to become a teacher, it is not done in any civilized jurisdiction.
Okay, we have very limited time.
Yes, please.
So if you can just give us brief about the other policies you have, just short.
In fact, I have so many policies. We have a program to set up what we call the Children's Development and Support Fund. Okay. The children are so vulnerable.
Okay. Just mention the policies.
Yes, the Children Development and Support Fund. We're also setting up a fund called the Media Development and Support Fund. Okay. We're also setting up what we call the Informal Sector Development and Support Fund. Okay. We also have a program called the People's Mineral Mining Corporation. Okay, if you have individuals in Ghana who are making $1 million because they are into private gold business, mining the gold, what stops you, the state, from equally mining the gold and getting $1 million a day? Okay. Is it a witchcraft or what? So the long and short is that I have policy proposals that covers almost every facet of our life. But on this platform, because of the limitation, I'm sure we might get the opportunity again to come back to GhanaWeb to articulate on some of the other policy areas that we want. In terms of energy, we have a policy. In terms of the environment, we have a policy. In terms of health, we have a policy. Every aspect, we have solid, watertight policy proposals for the state.
Let's talk about campaign strategy. So you are going independent alone. Is there a possibility of joining forces with other independent candidates? Or
no, for now, I don't have such an intent because you see, political campaign should be based on ideas. Okay, if I know who will swallow who, because for instance, I know I have a superior ideas than you. My ideas are divinely inspired. So if assuming this gentleman is also contesting and he has the money, it is difficult for me to say that I want to come and work with you because you have money I don't have. Would you take my ideas? And my ideas, so I can't transfer them into your brain. Because maybe when I even attempt it, your brain will crash. Because what is in my head, if I want to transfer it to yours, it might not sustain it. Because you know we have every storage device and their capacity. Some are in gigabytes, some are in terabytes. My brain capacity is in terabytes. So if you are using a gigabyte brain, how do I transfer my knowledge into you? So I am not prepared for that game. I want to stand alone and share my vision with Ghana. If any political party approaches me to work with them, I can give you a gist of some of the things you can do. But I won't sell my integrity. I won't sell my stomach. I won't sell anything because I want something for myself. I'll remain resolute. I'll sell my message. And I'm telling Ghanaians respectfully that Yasuo and Sio, Yasuo and San, we have tested water. We have tested spirit. Spirit, alcoholic spirit. So we know the difference between water and spirit. So now what we have not tested before as a country is putting an independent person to lead us. He's the only person who can bring everybody on the table for us to discuss Ghana. So I'm appealing to Ghana, I'm appealing to Ghanaians that let's change the narrative. No, anybody who gives you a cup of rice, a piece of cloth, a television set, you are selling the destiny of your children for a cup of rice. You are selling the destiny of your children for a piece of cloth. And that has to be stopped. If not, so one day you will get some psychopath or some maniac coming from anywhere with so much resources that can pay every Ghanaian at least a minimum of 10,000 Ghana cedis each and buy us off. After buying us off, then you will not make us a slave in our own country. That is what we must avoid. If not so, the children are going to pay a heavy price that nobody can pay it.
Okay, thanks so much, Mr. Richard Sumah.
Yes. Yes.
For coming to GhanaWeb today.
Yes.
For sharing your vision to Ghanaians. So viewers, with this this is a wrap for this edition of Election Desk on GhanaWeb TV. Keep watching GhanaWeb TV.